going to talk about our college football show contest. We got 4 big games. Number 7, Georgia versus number 9, Florida in Jacksonville in the world's largest outdoor cocktail party. We'll get to that. 14, Washington State at 24, Stanford. Number 2, Clemson. Remember, the old number 2s. Think about the last 2 number 2s these past 2 weeks. At Tallahassee playing the Seminoles. And number 3, Notre Dame, is playing Navy in San Diego. So with that said, let's start off with our first game. Number 7, Georgia against number 9, Florida in Jacksonville. The world's largest outdoor cocktail party, they call it, and that's everything from a martini glass to a champagne flute to a red Solo cup. It doesn't matter, but because they're going to invade Duval County. This is a 76 meeting between these two teams going back to 1915. Georgia 50-43 with 2 ties. Now, SEC East, this is a tiebreaker, deal breaker, you name it. There are 3 teams in the SEC East that are vying to go play Alabama in that SEC championship game if Alabama gets by LSU. We'll get to that later. But this is the first one of these games in a long while, gentlemen, correct me if I'm wrong, that had a lot rolling on it other than who's going to do some beer pong out in the parking lot or who's going to have the seersucker on. Mark, your thoughts on this game?
It's going to be a low-scoring affair. Both teams play outstanding defenses, scoring defenses. They're some of the top in the nation. If you look at both of them, they're giving up about 16 points a game. Todd Grantham, the defensive coordinator from Florida, has done a terrific job in his first year there. But I think Dan Mullen's got something going at Florida. That loss, and it was a close loss against Kentucky. This team just knows how to play close, tough football games. And I don't think Georgia has the spark and the leadership that they had last year defensively. And offensively, I think they struggle a bit throwing the ball vertically. When they have to throw the ball, they have difficulty doing it. I'm going with Felipe Franks. He's only completed 56% of his passes for Florida. But in this game, it's going to be a grinded-out game. Both teams are deep at running back, but I think Florida pulls this out because they just have that feeling that they've got something going. And one thing about Florida, they beat LSU, where Georgia got crushed by LSU a few weeks ago.
Well, that doesn't mean anything, Mark. The game's going to be nothing at the start of it. Both of them have great defenses, no doubt about it. Jake Fromm, the quarterback, has had a tremendous career, and he's only a sophomore. He played so poorly against LSU that, I mean, he had real trouble there. I think that I'm going to pick Georgia, and let me tell you why, Mark. Georgia has a lot of pride. They were picked to be one of the better teams in the entire country. They got embarrassed on national television by LSU. They've had a week to think about it. They had an open date. And I hope that Georgia did not go to practice and with all that pent-up anger and have great practices. I hope they kept that anger pent up. This is one thing I know about coaching. When you don't play particularly well and you get beat, then you come out on Tuesday and you're mad and you have everything great and you're physical. And by Saturday, you got all that terrible feeling out of you and you're down again. I think Georgia will win this football game 31-20. I think you will see the real Georgia football team bounce back, step up, and amend themselves and put themselves back in the championship race.
I've got Florida 23-20, and the reason why you're picking Georgia is because you picked them to go to the playoff.
Hey, I picked them because I just believe, and you know, Mark, when you play and you get beat, you want to go out and you want to redeem yourself. You're upset about it. You disappointed yourself. You disappointed your mom, your father. They're in the stands. Your girlfriend doesn't even talk to you anymore. Let me get it, Florida. That's all you want to do. Open the gate. Let me go sick them.
Now, it's the first time in a long time that a Florida team is known for defense, number 6 in passing defense. Now, our second game, number 14, Washington State. Coach Mike Leach is going to take his Cougars, who just, I mean, huge, great big game they had against Oregon. They're going out to Stanford, playing number 24, the Smart Kids. Now, here's something interesting about that is we talked about, we know Gardner Minshew can throw for Washington State, and everybody plays for Mike Leach, throws the ball. But they're 38th in rushing defense as well. Then you take Stanford. Got Bryce Love running the ball. Well, is he hurt? He's always kind of fragile. Good thing, if you ever looked at his class load for the semester, he will do well in whatever he does. So it doesn't matter if he has a football future. But does he have a future this week? Because I'm going to tell you, Washington State can stop the run, but they can air that thing out. And are they going to stay on a roll? Are they going to be the same team they were last week, Coach? At least from a mentality perspective? We'll see. Mark.
If you look at this game, Washington State, all the accolades last week. They had the game day there. They had all the pomp and of circumstance. Everybody was there patting them on the back, telling them how great they were, and they won the game and played extremely well. Now they got to travel to the farm at Stanford. One thing about David Shaw, he always has his teams ready to play. You talked about Bryce Love and that high ankle sprain. I don't think he plays in this game, and if he plays, how long can he play? I talked about it last week. Here locally, when he was going against Arizona State, how long can he last in the game? Because of the high ankle sprain, all it takes is one tackle and you're out. That's what happened against Arizona State. I wouldn't count him on this game. But I look at this game with Gardner Minshew, the way that he's throwing the ball and the confidence that they have right now. This is a team, when you look at Washington State, the Cougs, they've come together as a team. When you watch them on television, how they talk about each other, how they talk about their locker room, how they talk about their teammates, this is a team to be reckoned with. And I think Mike Leach has something going very special. That's why I'm still picking Washington State in this game 41-28 because of their offense and because of their defense and because of their team camaraderie.
I think that all the points you make are very good. The problem with Stanford is they aren't an explosive football team. They have 2 losses. They should have been 3, Mark. Yeah. They should have definitely lost to Oregon. Had they lost to Oregon, they'd have 2 losses in the conference. Then it would have been much easier uphill struggle for Washington State in this game because the game is at Stanford. The 2 things that concern me about Washington State right now, Mark, there are far too many penalties on Washington State. They're one of the most penalized football teams in the entire country, and that's not good. That's sort of a lack of discipline. The other thing, they don't protect the ball particularly well. I don't know if Mike Leach says, okay, interceptions just go along with the nature of our offense or not. The same as if you run the option, you might have some fumbled pitches, things along that nature. But I do believe that Washington State is a better football team. I think they are confident in this. And they play much better at home, and they are on the road. Their one loss was in Southern Cal, 39-36 on the road. I look for Washington State to beat Stanford 38-24. There we go again on the spread. Mark wins on the spread. That's nonsense. I won.
I love it, brotherly love, but I want to tell you, the Pirate out there, and all they got to do is win out, because everybody in the Pac-12 North, those top 3 teams are all, obviously Washington's 4-1, but the other 2 are 3-1. Keep winning, and you can control your own destiny, at least for a conference championship. But our third game, talk about controlling 2 different destinies, and this is what they're thinking about. Number 2, Clemson, is going to Tallahassee to play the Seminoles, and 2 different goals. Clemson's planning to go win a national championship. Florida State, their goal is to get to a bowl game. 2 different goals. Well, you know what? They got to go about them the same way, and that's by winning football games. I know this should not be close, but Seminoles have improved step by step, week by week, and so has Clemson since Trevor Lawrence got knocked down that one day, but now they come back and they're on a roll. You got some defense with Florida State. Brian Burns, 9 sacks. He does this, I'm not even going to try it, but he does a Spider-Man pose whenever he makes a sack for the Seminoles. He's tough. So this is either going to be a blowout, but don't forget, it could be a trap game. Mark, talk to us about Tallahassee.
I don't think Dabo Swinney will let this be a trap game. He's going to sell it. Florida State is Florida State. They're 4-2. Everybody was throwing dirt on this football team and this program, and they're 4-2 under Willie Taggart at this time. Hey, it hasn't been pretty, but they're getting it done. They're going to challenge Clemson early in this game, but it won't last. If you look at Travis Etienne, the running back, he's averaging 8 yards per carry. He's got over 800 yards rushing on the season. And if you look at the quarterback, Trevor Lawrence, he's getting better each and every game. The more snaps he takes, he didn't even finish the game last week because they didn't need him in the 4th quarter. So this is a quarterback that's healthy now. He's throwing the football vertically. The reason why he was anointed the starter because he can spread that rock around, can throw that magic beam. I got Clemson winning this game in the end, pulling away big time in the 4th quarter, 46-21.
I think when you look at Clemson, a total offense, they're number 9. Scoring offense, they're number 4. Total defense, they're number 4. Scoring defense, they're number 3. I mean, they are balanced. Their front 4 on Clemson is absolutely outstanding. It's a 1 front 4 that can compare favorably with the University of Alabama. But when I look at Florida State, for about 5 years, Mark, they've had a top 5 recruiting class. And that means that there's very good talent there. Defensively, they're getting better. They're playing better. But boy, when you look at them on offense, the offensive line is in real shadows. When you have a running back like Cam Akers, I mean, this guy is outstanding. He's a freshman. He rushed for over 1,000 yards last year and didn't even play a couple of the games. And he put on some great runs against Wake Forest. But he has to beat 3 or 4 tackles sometime to get to the line of scrimmage. I think that Florida State has good talent. If their offensive line shows up and can compete with Clemson's defensive line, they have a chance. But I don't think that's going to happen, even though it's at Florida State. And let's remember this now. Florida State's really fighting for a bowl game. They have 3 losses. They lose to Clemson. They're going to lose to Florida's 5. They're going to lose to Notre Dame 6. That means there's no doubt about that. But I look for Clemson to prevail 38-17.
38-17, and we'll see. I know Coach always disregard my little history and my little quims here, but you never know. It might be like being on the Madden cover for Clemson. No, could be the third, number 2 in a row to lose this year, but who knows?
That doesn't have a thing to do with it. It has everything to do with how well you play. You don't have your rank. You don't talk about it. And let me tell you this about rankings. I would say that to you, hey, Coach, you're number 1. Are they going to vote again? Yeah. Well, if they're going to vote again, it means nothing. If you aren't going to vote again, we're number 1. Great. They're going to vote again. Number 2 means nothing.
Well, could be fun, Coach. We'll see. But here's what will be fun. Notre Dame, Navy, San Diego. Now, beautiful weather out there. A lot different than South Bend, Indiana right now. Navy's going out there. You know what? They're going to have a lot of support. You got Naval Station San Diego right there. You got Camp Pendleton right up the road. You're running the ball. I've heard maybe, just maybe, the Notre Dame team goes on a tour of a ship and they get a little cruise and maybe it just goes to Hawaii or something. If that happens, Navy has a chance. But you know what? You never know. This game is the 90th meeting. Going back to 1927, Notre Dame's 75-13-1. And you know what? Don't forget, Notre Dame won 2 years ago. Maybe that was a different team. Notre Dame's coming off a bye week. And, Coach, listen, I know you're undefeated against Navy. Correct me if I'm wrong. You played them in Ireland. But you know what? They're going to be in a military city playing the Irish. Maybe there's a chance, but I don't know. Mark, what are your thoughts on this game?
Oh, you got to look at Navy. This is a football team that they've had a difficult season thus far, but they've waited for this game and they plotted for this game. They're rushing 310 yards a game. They can run the football on anybody. Their head coach, Ken Niumatalolo, does a terrific job scheming against Notre Dame. This is a game where there's going to be a lot of chop blocks, a lot of cut blocks. If Navy doesn't beat Notre Dame this week, they'll beat them next week because a lot of those defenders will be sore from that triple option cutting coach. And this is the key. Notre Dame will still win 38-26.
I'm glad to hear you say that because I can say now Mark is changing his attitude towards Notre Dame. He even picked him to upset Navy. How great is that? You know, I love the Naval Academy. Let's remember, when I was at Notre Dame, I said to Father Hesburgh, why do we play Navy every year? Because it was basically the only team we played that maybe won the top 20 team. I mean, in 86 or 88, we played 6 teams in the top 10 final poll. And when he said, during World War II, Notre Dame almost had to close its doors because of a lack of attendance. It was an all-male school, let's remember that. And Navy brought their VH program to Notre Dame, and because of that, Notre Dame stayed alive. And Notre Dame told me, Father Hesburgh said, we'll play Navy as long as they want to play us. So there's great loyalty and there's great respect there between the two schools. But I think, you look at Notre Dame, Mark, being honest, their offense is good. Great running back in Williams, great wide receiver Boykin. Book is playing great. Defensively, they're outstanding. I mean, they're front. They can put pressure on the pass. They can stop it. Navy can run the football, but they won't be able to run it against Notre Dame. And I hate to say this, but I think Notre Dame is going to hold the score down. It's going to be 51-10.
Well, it's going to be close, and whether you're a fan of either team, I will tell you, those gold helmets, that's what separates college football from everything else, and that's tradition. And when you see Navy play Notre Dame or any of the service academies, you know what? That's special. So cheer them on. You know, whoever's going to win or lose, we'll worry about that because I'm pulling for Navy. Well, that is our Week 9 College Football Show contest. Those 4 games, you have the picks. Go to the crowdsline.com and get on the app as well and start competing. Let me see what you say. Let me see who wins. Get the gift card. Let me see. Somebody go in there and pick all. 1.8% of our players this week picked all games correct. So, Coach, I know you said you were 7-2. We had 1.8%. We're 9-0. So I think all of them are saying, go Boilermakers.